use the Mool mantra more. Why? It's just such a powerful mantra. We've been in Master of the Space, really going into the depths of it the last couple of months. And um, one of the reasons, I mean, part of there's it's the highest mantra. It's also the root mantra of like all mantras. And it's pretty much the most important mantra of all the mantras because it contains all. It contains all. It contains all the stanzas, the verses of Japji, of which there are total 40, and then the Siddhi Guru Granth, which is like 1,400 plus pages of these mystical shabads, poems, ultimately about the human in God, human God consciousness, the levels and layers of being human, all of it to remember that you're God in the first place and to recall and reignite your ultimate God consciousness, the creator of all creation consciousness, while being in this human experience. And every sort of anything you could possibly go through as a human is addressed in all of these mystical celestial codes, and all of these codes are all contained in the Mool mantra. So that's why you could just chant the Mool mantra and you're doing everything for all of it. But it also really puts you back into your God identity, which is your true identity, your Satnam, who you really are, which is you're the operant power of your entire life, reality. And when I say creator of all creation, you come from yourself. There's no outside force. There's no outside force that's greater than you. There's no outside force doing it. It's all coming from within you. And it's all projecting and mirroring and rendering from your dominant thoughts, beliefs, assumptions, vibration, frequency, identity, who you think you are, who you believe you are, and who you think you are in relation to all categories and angles of this human experience. And so if we can remove, release, unblock, unlock, anything that is limiting, which is most of what we learn from a childhood as being a human on Earth, we come here and we've forgotten a lot of things. We've forgotten all this stuff. So what happens is with the Mool mantra, especially, but all the mantras, it removes any of those false realities, the ingrained pattern beliefs and assumptions and expectations of versions that we don't feel aligned with, that are outdated to us. We want to have a grander experience of human. We want to have a full, really like expanded version of being human, but as God. Okay. So God and being heaven on earth, literally living as heaven on earth. And so the Mool mantra gets in and it just takes away, all of those false human limited thinking, limited ways of being. Okay. It clears the way so that we can actually remember that we're God. Seems like maybe that's a lot of work. Like, can't we just remember? But the thing is, it's like, just if can remember every day, we may not remember 24/7, but if we can remember every day, and what we do here in Master of this Space is we have been creating the normalized pattern of being God first as the foundation. And sometimes we're human. We're God and we have human moments, human experiences, but it's natural and normal for us to operate from the God level, from source, which we already are. We've just been, manifesting and creating things in our lives unconsciously, but very easily. And then we want to manifest or create a new experience. And we think it's hard because we think it's unnatural. We think we have to force it. Where is it? Why isn't it here yet? Why can't I change this? But really, we create unfavorable things just without thinking twice. And it's all the same. Nothing's favorable, nothing's unfavorable, everything's neutral. And when you're God, you can look at anything going on around you. And if you don't like what you're seeing, you know that you just have to change you. And it's not like you have to make some drastic change. You just have to change your mind. You change your perception, because we're all that is. So everything is just literally a reflection and is us also. So nothing's bad, nothing's whatever. It's just, oh, that's me. It's showing me something. If I don't like what I'm seeing, I just change my mind about it. I give it a new meaning. I shift it to be in my favor, and everything should be in our favor. But when we chant these codes and we practice these codes, and especially the Mul mantra, it really makes it does all that work for us. Like, we don't have to be like on top of it all the time. We just chant the mantra and the things just go away and the perspective opens. Because if we're all that is, and everything that we could possibly desire already exists in the field, it's just there waiting for us to be aware of it, waiting for us to decide it and to stick with it and to know it and to trust it. But we just can't see it. So one of the biggest parts of anything that we do in the Kundalini Yoga meditation mantra wheelhouse is that you then see the unseen. And that's what that means. You can see things that you weren't able to see before because you weren't yet the identity of the person that could see it this way, because you were operating from a different version of yourself, a version of yourself that wasn't the highest, exalted, rich, in successful, healthy, happy, loved, whatever name your desire, insert any desire here, whatever it is for you, your preferences, you now can more naturally just assume to expect the best, to expect it in your favor, because you understand that there's really no limitations, that you're the only limitation and you're the only block. And all you have to do is just change your mind. So the Mul mantra is really giving us the human experience as God, and anything that isn't that just gets rid of that, just at the root. And so it's very practical. It's also very cosmic. It's very divine. It's very spiritual. It all mantra codes, and this one especially. I mean, it gives you the highest divinity you could have. And then one of the things around like these times of year. Now, this stuff we're going to do tonight, it is certainly not new moon leading into equinox. It's not like just because of that, you could only do it for some special night. Like what we're doing tonight, you could do anytime. And I encourage you to. And everything that we do in here is not like time sensitive. It's there's a couple meditations and things that, do it on the full moon, do it on the 11th day of the moon. But ultimately you could do things anytime, and you're not, if you're all that is, which you are, you're not at the mercy of the planets. You're not at the mercy of the equinox. You can have a huge quantum shift any moment of the day. Just, it's like It reminds me of like New Year's Eve, how I've always said New Year's Eve is for amateurs because like people just go out, rage. They have these high expectations. They think it's like going to be the best. They put all this like pressure on the night. They go hard, they go outrageous. When like the more, it's like you have the most fun on like a random night. You have more fun on a random night than New Year's Eve. Like, it's just like you don't have to do all that. You don't it's not about that. So, yes, these astrological alignments, equinox, especially equinoxes and solstices, especially spring equinox, because we're, starting a new cycle. It's the real true new year, the 0 degrees of Aries. Again, so it's like it's the real new year. But you're God. You're all that is. You're the planets. You're the astrological alignments. You don't have to wait around for some day on the calendar for some planetary thing. You don't have to wait for Mercury to be at a retrograde, which it will be on Saturday, and that's nice. But you could do it. It's you. You're the operant power. You're the source of your entire experience. Whatever you decide shall be. Your word is law. Another thing this practice gives us is the power of the word. Whatever we say goes, which I express all the time that you already have that power. It's the Vakh Siddhi. You already have it. But what is this practice, the Kundalini, what does it help with? Well, it amplifies that power. So when you decide something, then you've chanted the mantra, you do these practices. So then you decide something, you declare something, you decree it. Okay. This is how it is. This is how it's going to be for me. This is how this is for me. This is how this works for me. This is in my favor. This is what I expect for myself and for my life and for this and for that and whatever the thing is. And then because you've chanted the mantra and you don't have all these limiting beliefs and all these old pattern ways of being that are locking you in, that are not aligned with what you're deciding, you don't have that anymore. So then you can actually trust. You can trust in your word. You can trust in your decision, and you know that thing's going to render in your 3D reality. You understand how reality works. You know that your entire external 3D is a projection of your internal environments. So we do this stuff and we get our internal environments in such a, talk like what we're doing tonight is like going to be so great in that. But anytime we practice, you get your internal environment in such like this aligned, harmonized, balanced, like electrified, infinite, like online. And then it's like, if you think about that, well, then of course your external reality is going to just like totally move to reflect that. So that's why we like to make sure we have mantras going. That's why we like to keep the vibe up. And the keeping the vibe up has nothing to do with not being in like an annoyed mood, not being upset about something, not having human feelings. It's not about being like it's not about being positive at all. It's just about being neutral and just being like, it doesn't matter if like I'm annoyed at XYZ. It doesn't matter if I'm upset and I'm crying about something. None of that matters. It still goes the way I say it's going to go. I'm still God no matter what. It still goes in my favor no matter what. Everything unfolds perfectly for me. My unfolding, my internal unfolding into the version of myself right now that I decide that I am. Whatever I say I am, I will become, I will be, I will become, it shall be. Whatever I dominantly assume, decide, expect, must express itself in the physical reality, heaven on earth, must express itself. So the more often we do these practices, we become naturally our true identity. our Satnam, who we really are without the bullshit. And yeah, that does include like the best parts of your personality, because guess what? You created yourself. So your talents, the things that are so cool about you, the things that like you love about yourself, the things that make you laugh about yourself, like the things that your interests, the things you're just like obsessed with and interested in and come naturally to you and come easily to you, and the things that you love and the things that you love about yourself, you created all of that because you're God. You're the source. You made that happen. You made those things about you. So it does include your personality, your talents, your gifts. And in this time, in these times, and this new moon, and of course, equinox, and just this kind of like time period of the spring, especially, um, it's like, okay, well, let's get into what the next phase of our destiny is. Okay, like what's the next experience I'm looking to have? What's the next layer of things? What's the next level of things? What am I here to do more of?